Hello everyone, this is Tommy here, and I'm doing my first deck profile, I guess, on the channel. So here, I'll be showing my Ignister deck list that I use in locals. So, you know, Ignister. It's a cool deck. I like it. It's not competitive, which is, well, it's able to keep up with the competitive meta, but it's not a tier 0 deck. It's more so just maybe a tier 1 at best, and we'll see why. It is the way it is with its, I guess, flaws, because it's not like I'm playing Math Mechs, which are really strong, but I like playing this deck as a little fun deck. So that being said, we'll begin the profile. The cost of this build is kind of expensive with the cards that I have in here. There are budget options I did start out using before. However, over the few months I upgraded to some cards from friends and trading things here and there. So it can be budget friendly, and it can also be budget killer, so take it how you will. Anyways, so to start off with, we got the monsters. We got one Hiai, so as a extender, one Doshin as another extender, and it is searchable with your I Meet You, which I'll get to later, because that one's searchable. This one I keep in there instead of having two of these, specifically because if I have another monster on field, I can make it a level 4 to go into Jammer by attributing it to add, what's it called? Either this extender or this, because you have to have a target to get this out and use the effect. Okay, so these are my extenders here. Play one of each. Some people play two. I personally play one of each color, or I guess one of each color, and then like a Chiri. That's really good. All you have to do is have a Cybers out, and it will let you negate the effects and then summon it. And it has a really good grave effect where if it's sent to the grave, like with link summoning or tribute summoning, you can make any one monster on the field unaffected by opponent's card effects until the end of the turn. So, which is really good because you can help keep you guys out if you can't get to the tower, which is the main goal of this deck. So, 3 extenders right here. Next, you will play 3 copies of Ichichi at Ignister. This is one of your starter cards, which leads into many combos and strings, and it's a good searcher for the deck, such as on this normal summon or special summon. It can get you a level 4 or lower Ignister monster from deck to hand. Really nice. And it has the battle effect, where in the damage step, you can banish this card from your graveyard, one Cybers monster you control battles, to destroy your monster and avoid taking damage, which I will explain later. But it's also really good for stopping Zeus from coming out, which is really good. So, gotta have that. Next up, you play 1 Buru, and 2 Doyon. So this is a good card for sending stuff to the graveyard. Specifically, it sends monsters, AI monsters. If you're missing a piece, you could send it. It's also a tuner, and then when you synchro summon with it, you can get the material that you bring back and special summon it, which is really good too for extending. And 2 Doyons, if it's normal or special summoned, you get to add a AI monster from grave to hand, and when it's link summoned or sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon, you can get any spell trap that's an AI card from grave to hand, which is also really good too. So, gotta have 2 for consistency. Now next, another starter card. You play 3 Bakari at Ignister. So, this is also a starter card, just like Red. However, it can add a spell trap if it's normal special summoned, an AI spell trap. And with these, they're good to bait out cards that would stop you from getting the field spell, which is really important for this deck. But if you have the field spell, you can add other AI spell traps, which are also good for the starting combos, and potential follow-ups as well. It's also level 4, which with the Boo, you can summon this as well to go into your Cinco 7 and go off from there. Secondary effect also sometimes comes out. You can also use it to manipulate the level of any one AI monster on the field and make its level become 4, so you can overlay with it into the Xyz monster. It's not exactly used by every AI deck, but mine is a pure AI deck build with only Cybers, so that's the main focus. Other decks, they can have other cards in there for extenders and whatnot, like Geomath Mechs is also a splashable piece of the engine you can also add into to make it more consistent, but I like doing this just for the way it is. So we got 3 of those. And then we got the one Damar. Playing 2 I wouldn't recommend just because it's a brick in hand if you're not going second. Because what this does is, if it's in the graveyard, you can, while you control a Link 6 monster, you can banish it and negate any card on the field that's face up as a quick effect. So they activate Solemn Judgment, well, not Solemn Judgment, I don't know about that one, but they activate Happy's Feather Duster, for example. You can banish it, use the effect, and you can negate that effect on the field, which is pretty cool. You can save yourself from getting your field spell destroyed or any other spell traps you have set. But the most important thing I use it for is stopping things on their turn for combos and such, like for them building their combos, stopping Hulk from coming out. The primary effect of this card is when an attack is declared involving an AI monster, you can special summon this card from your hand and summon it to the field and negate the attack. Oh, and one other thing, the effect to negate something can be done by banishing from the graveyard or face up on the field, but preferably it's usually in the graveyard so they can't target it to negate the effects. For the spell traps, I play a lot because the deck kind of needs a lot to play, so we'll just get started. So this deck, I chose to go with the cross-out method because this deck dies to a lot of things and it's really annoying trying to get your combo started when you just get shut out by simple things like Effect Failure or Infinite Impermanence or Ash Blossom. I can go on. But with cross-out, you can run 3 of these, they activate Imperm, you declare Imperm on your turn, or their turn, preferably on your turn. Then you can do the banish the Imperm you have from your deck, and then you can negate the effects to continue your combo. Mostly it's just for setting it to guarantee that you can bring up your end board before letting them stop you from bringing it out. You can also do it on their turn. For some other stuff I'll go over later. But yeah, I run 3 of these because it just needs it. Now next, we have Triple Signet Mining. Now this card is really needed for the deck because it's a good searcher. It discards for cost, so that can also be good in some instances, but it still searches at level 4 or lower Cybers monster. It's also used for like Ash Bait, bidding out hand traps and whatnot. Good to have there. I think any Cybers deck would be using this too, just because of the utility. Now next we play 2 I Meet Yous. Now, some people say run 3, but these are the ratios that I'm doing. So, I run 2 because it's really searchable. With Bakari, you can search it, so essentially you have a lot more ways of getting it out. And you can only activate once per turn. It does also lock you into only using Cybers monster effects. So, if you want to use a hand trap like Ash on your turn, you gotta do it before you use this, otherwise after you cannot. So with these, you reveal 1 monster from your extra deck, and with that being said, you show them like any monster with 2300 or more attack. You reveal it, you get the same monster you picked with the attribute from the extra deck, you get from the deck and you add it to your hand, which is pretty cool because you search for a light monster, you get a card, etc, etc. So that's why I play 2 of those. Now for these 2 spells, this one and this one are both Monster Reborn in a sense, but only for AI monsters. Now this one's a quick play, this one is a normal spell, however they have really different effects. So this one is a quick play, target one AI in a graveyard, special summon it, and first of this turn, after this card resolved, you cannot special summon monsters except for Cybers, which is why you can only play Cybers with this deck. The other effect this thing has is when an attack is declared involving two monsters. Yeah, 2 monsters. So your monster and their monster. You can banish this card from the grave and 1 card from your hand to add any spell trap, AI spell trap, besides this card that is banished or in the graveyard. So if you're in a pinch, you can do this if you want to, but it is kind of risky. Now this one, this is a Monster Reborn with secondary and tertiary effects, because when it's when a AI monster with 2300 original attack is destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead to protect it from being destroyed. And when this card is banished, you can protect the monster from being destroyed by battle, which is also a good thing to do, where these 2 can combo where if you have this card in your hand and this card you want to activate in the graveyard, you banish this, protecting monsters from being destroyed by battle, which will help you stay alive. At least a little bit, so that's why I play 1 of each. You could play more if you wanted to, but I prefer I don't. Now moving on to the field spells, I play 2 Island, which is really good for the deck. This is your one of your combo pieces. This card, it lets you special summon 1 attribute for a level 4 or lower AI monster per turn. So you can have 6 attributes. I play all 6, so you can summon 6 monsters per turn. As long as you have no monsters in the main monster zone, then you can summon it, special summon a monster from your hand. It's really good. However, it is very vulnerable to being Cosmic Cyclone or Ghost Ogre. However, once per turn you can use the effect where if it's in the graveyard, you can banish any AI monster to reset this card from the graveyard to the field. So it has a recursion effect, which is pretty good. Now you can play another one, but I only play 2 in combination with Terraforming and Eye Contact. Where Eye Contact works is if you have this in the field spell zone and this card in your hand, you can put this to the bottom of the deck and then draw 3. So essentially it helps you not break as much if you draw both of them, or if you draw 1, you get the other one with the Link monster, you can get extra +2 cards. Actually no, it's a +1 because you have these in hand. So it'll be a +1, but it does help you draw more cards. And then the 1 Terraforming, and then the other field spells I play is 2 Mystic Mine. Now you should be saying, why am I playing Mystic Mine? Well, because of the effect I said earlier involving Island. So you can play Mystic Mine on your turn with the boss monster on the field, and then when it comes back to your turn, when they can't eventually do anything, you say, okay, cool, activate the effect in the graveyard, I banish my AI monster to have this reset over here, thereby popping this so you can play on your turn and go for game. So having a Mystic Mine is actually something you can play around, and if you're playing against it, your opponent's playing Mystic Mine whatever, you can go cross out Mystic Mine so you can play on your turn and reap the benefits of having it and having cross out as well. Now the last spells, I got 1 Set Rotation, 1 Cold Buy, 1 Cosmic. This helps with the Mystic Mine, setting it up, or setting up your own island if you really need to. If you can't get it out any other way, it also helps to set up or get rid of the field spells on their field. Like if you're playing against Floowandereeze, you can get rid of the map, you can normal summon without being afraid of having them normal summon as well. The one called by is essential, gotta have it in every deck. And the one cosmic is a cross-out target when going second, because this deck is going blind. First or second, it can go either way. So by having cosmic going second, if they try to cosmic your field spell, which is one of the ways that can out it completely, you can cross out that. Or you just have it just in case. And then again for set rotation, when you activate it and you give them a field spell that's set, as long as they have their set card face down, or you have your set card face down, no one can activate or set other field spells until they're gone, so it's nice to have, just in case. Now for the hand traps, for the cross-out targets. We got 2 Infinite Impermanence, we have 2 Veiler, and we also have 2 Ash Blossom, and now I'm running 1 Gamma and 1 Driver. So essentially before, I had 3 Imperm, 3 Veiler, 2 Ash, and I believe that was it in the original builds. However, noticing Gamma's ability to destroy and negate the activation of any monster effect is really detrimental to this deck, because you need to normal summon at least once if you have no other field spell in hand, or extenders, and if they destroy your target, the targets which you can use for extenders yourself, with a level 1 HELA or Doshin, then you can't really go anywhere, so you're kinda just stuck. That's why I have 1 Gamma for a cross-out target, and if I happen to draw it, I also have a Driver, so I can actually use it if I'm going second, and they can be used against the opponent. So that's how that works for that. Now with the current format how it is, and with Split coming in and everything, I was going to make this video earlier with the pre-Paladin elements and after. The only thing I might change is adding in side cards and maybe main decking the Ghost Ogres and Dark Rulers, but we'll have to see what happens. Now for the extra deck, we have 2 Infants at Ignister, Dark Infant at Ignister. This is your key to success for this deck. This will let you, if Link summoned, add the field spell from deck to hand, which is really good, because you need that to start the combo. It's another way to add the field spell to hand. From Terraforming or Picari, you can get it from this guy when you normal summon a special summon him, or from using Terraforming as well. So you have multiple ways to get it. Now, the other effect that comes up sometimes is the secondary effect, where when a Cyberse monster you control with 2300 original attack activates its effect, you can move this monster from whatever zone it's in the main monster zone, 1 to the left, because of where it's pointing to, and then changes attribute to any type, which is really good for getting your tower and having multiple attributes. Next up we have 1 Link Spider. This is really good for playing after or playing through Nibiru, because they give you a token after they nib your field. You summon quite a lot in this deck. You can summon probably 30 times or more, which is crazy, I know, but it's purely Link, with the exception of a couple cards. But you need to Link climb to get to the Link 6. Now you can use the token from the nib to summon Link Spider, or you can use it just for anything else you're playing against dinos, or you have the other tokens on your field for whatever reason. So they're good to have together. Tokens. I'm playing 1 mask because I didn't realize that 2 non-Link monsters is kind of situational, especially when most of my extra deck is Link monsters. And I'm going to be checking this out or switching this out rather, for a security dragon or a proxy dragon, both of which are Link 2s, and they have the requirements of 2 monsters. So any 2 monsters, a token, a Link monster, non-effect monster, or effect monster. This is good for utility and Link summoning on their turn, but for this deck, I'm not really using it where you'll be summoning like, unicorn or whatever, so that's what I have for now, but I would recommend a proxy dragon instead of this. Next we have one jammer, which is used for your access code line. Really simple to bring out 2 level 2 or higher Cyberus monsters, and you can use its effect while on the field to negate all effects face up on the field using monsters only visual attack only for attacking each other. And when you link off with it, you can activate the effect to have a link monster summon with it attack twice, which is really good for going for OTKs. And this isn't a once per turn, so you could technically use this effect multiple times. I actually pulled this off twice in a duel before, which is kind of funny. Next up we have one Cyberus Wicked. Now this card here is what you get, helps you get out the tuner for the deck, which is this one. When a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, you can banish one Cyberus monster from your grave to add this to your hand, which follows up because you will go into the next card, which is 2 Splash Mage. Now, I played 1 before, it's great, but having 2 makes it a little easier for follow-up in case things don't go as planned. Now what this card does is it lets you bring back one Cyberus monster from your graveyard in defense mode, but its effects are negated. So this is really good for bringing out your combos to getting to your tower, and it's also good for getting to the access code line. But having 2, highly recommended. 3, probably a little too much. Play 1 Dark Templar at Ignister. Now this is one of your keys to this tower you're gonna build. It is a soul charge for the deck. When a monster is special summoned to any of the zones it's point to, you can special summon as many monsters as you can with the zones left available to the zones it point to, 4 or lower AI monsters from your graveyard, effects negated. Now this gets you to link 6 really easy, because 3, 4, 5, 6, good, yep. You have a 4,000 attack monster, which is decent, but you could do better. The other effects this has, where if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target a Cyberus monster in grave, special summon it from your graveyard. So it's good for going for game as well, but usually the last effect that really comes up. You play 1 Fire Phoenix at Ignister. Now people say you should play Heat Soul, but drawing an extra card and burning yourself for 1,000 and that's it is a last ditch resort. I personally think this is better because you can attack once per turn, declare this effect. During damage calc, you deal no battle damage, but instead effect damage, whether this attacks for whatever attack this is at. So you basically just burn for 23, and then its secondary effects, as if it's destroyed by a card effect, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it, which can be done either by them or by you, because like I said before, this card, Ichichi, can activate in the damage step, so you can pop it on your turn or their turn. So you banish it, declare it in damage step, pop the monster, pop their monster, which, in case they're trying to go for Zeus, it does not work, because Zeus needs to be summoned using an Xyz monster that has performed a battle, but technically, a battle can only be counted as being performed if it gets through damage, calculation, and damage step. Now, by doing this, damage calculation doesn't occur because it's before in the damage step. So, it's one of those niche things you gotta learn about this deck. It's really funny to see them try to out it. Oh yeah, the third effect has 3 effects. When it's destroyed, when its link summon card is destroyed, the first time, it can be social summoned back during the next standby phase in the main monster zone. So it's really good because you have 2 link zones, and you can even potentially use the effect to pop a monster, or just burn damage again. But after it's summoned, Link summoned, you cannot use the effect of Reborn itself. We have one chance code talker. This is a backup way to get to the tower, or a way to get the access code with update jammer, because you link climb, make jammer, have another body on board, you make chance code, bring back to update jammer, and make access code, which can attack twice and has 5300 attack. So pretty good just for that, and just for extending on your turn, trying to go for game. So next card is access code. Very simple, good card. I wish they made it generic, not generic, and only 4 Cybers monsters, because this card is splashable in every deck, unfortunately. I feel kind of sad they did that. Same thing with transcode, generic Cybers, because it's talkers. But I digress, this card's good. You need it for OTKs, or just to non-target destroy anything they control by banishing link monsters from your graveyard. Now, because you play all different attributes, you can potentially pop 6 different cards they control in one turn, so really good for that as well. Now, we have one Revival Cybers at Ignister. This is your end board. It is a Link 6 with 0 attack, and acquires 3 or more monsters with different attributes to summon it. So you can have a base of 3000 attack, because it gains 1000 attack per link material, or a max of 6000 attack for 6 link materials. Now with this one, it states it is unaffected by other cards' effects, meaning your opponent can target it with cards such as Infinite Impermanence or Effect Failure. However, it cannot be affected. It won't be affected because it's unaffected. So they can target it with, I'll just get the card out. So let's say your opponent used Infinite Impermanence, trying to get the column situation going. So they want to negate your column right here. Well, this will still resolve because it just says target, negate its effects. That still resolves. It's not going to negate the effects because it's unaffected. It doesn't really care. So because you can still target it, they can still do it. It just won't do anything. Same thing with effect failure. They can use it. It's not going to do anything. Pretty funny. One card I did realize was actually similar is Naga, which is unaffected and cannot be targeted. So essentially it's quite similar, except this is essentially, I guess, easier to bring out. I want to try making the deck just to see, but for this, I think it's really good for the format. Not a lot of cards can out it. There are only a few ways to get rid of this card by battle, or in general. One is by battle, so getting over 3000 to 6000 attack. 2 is by kaiju, so you can use the kaiju on your turn to distribute it, summon kaiju, it's dead. 3 is by using cards that target it to gain the attack. So like Sliving Venom Dragon, targeting 1 monster on the field, gain the attack, so it becomes 8000, this has 6000, and you take 2000 damage. One other way is by using Underworld Goddess, which is a Link 5 monster, which has the effects where you can Link summon using 1 monster your opponent controls. So if they get 4 bodies on board, you know it's going to come out, unfortunately. So you'll just say goodbye to this. One good thing about this though, is that if they try to use Nibiru when this card is summoned, it does not work because this card is unaffected. So if you want to use Nibiru in this deck, which I do run in the side deck, I will tell you now, you can run it. It won't tribute the monster. You'll still summon it, but you won't have to lose it. It's really good. And one other effect it can do is target 1 monster anywhere on the field other than this card, destroy it, and you will get a token summoned to one of the arrows it points to on your side of the field. So 3 tokens up to, which can be used to link climb and whatever else you gotta do. You play 1 Wind Pegasus at Ignister, which is summoned typically with the tuner, plus any level 4 that you have. It is a level 7 with the effect stating during your main phase, you can non-target destroy spell traps equal to the number of AIs you have on the field. So the more you have, the better, and it's non-target, so it's also a good thing. And if this card is in the field, on the field, or in the graveyard, when a card you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can banish it from the field or graveyard to target one card on their field and then shuffle it into their deck, or spin it into the extra deck, or the deck in general. It's really good for if they get through your tower and you have this engraved, you say trigger resolution, banish, and they spin whatever attacked it. Most of the time it works. And then one Flight Dragon Ignister. Now this is also another card that's not played typically, but it is a target for your I Meet You, which is another reason why you play this. Typically you wouldn't really search for this, because you have multiple ways of getting it out, like Cyber's Wicked, or any other card, like Mining, or even with Chi-Chi. So multiple ways to get this card out, or to use the cards with I Meet You, but it's also mainly used as a last resort, because this one, like this one, can non-target destroy monsters the opponent controls up to the number of face-up AI monsters that you control. By detaching one material, you can achieve that, and the secondary effect states when the cards player you control would be destroyed. By card effect, you can detach one material from this card instead, and its last effect, when another Cyber's monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon one Link monster from your graveyard. This is also good for going OTKs and against some decks where you gotta pop monsters, like against Flow. You summon this in defense mode by passing M-Pen and then use it to destroy M-Pen plus statue or something like that. So that's the extra deck. Now for the side deck, we have, I play 3 Dark Hole, which is good for going second. Non-target destroys everything. I don't play Vaigeki because this is funny, and because if you want to do it on your turn, when you have like this on the board, it don't matter. When you have Phoenix on board, it could matter because you can pop another monster if they try to negate it. So just funny stuff like that. 3 Dark Hole. I play 1 Red Reboot because trap decks. 1 Infinite Impermanence in the side in case they shut down the graveyard for whatever reason. I swap out 1 Effect Veiler for Infinite Impermanence because of utility. I play 1 Twin Twisters and 1 Cyclone. Again, cross out target. Also, spell trap decks for removal really helps, and discarding a card can help as well. Next up, I play 3 copies of Joel and Lockbird. Now this card isn't exactly as good as it once was in the format, but in this format, not all decks rely solely on adding cards like my deck does. So mostly it's a cross-out target going second for the second game, I should say. Gotta have at least 1, and then it can be used against them as well. But just against like Flow, it kills them, or against heroes. So gotta have this. And I play 2 Kaijus. Now I play the Wind Kaiju because of Flow. Again, wind, only summon wind monsters. You can just use this on the statue or the penguin, and it gets you able to try to combo out. I play 2 Nibiru's, 1 for a cross out, 2 if you don't want to feel like drawing the 1 out, because cross out does only work from the deck. So if you hadn't draw the 1 copy you have, you're kind of out of luck. So playing 2 increases your odds of not drawing both, but having 2 again can be used against decks that summon a lot of times, like AI, like heroes, like Dragon Link, so it's good for stuff like that. And then 1 Ghost Ogre, because while you can kind of get around sometimes, if you don't have one body on the field, then you can't do anything unless you have the Monster Reborn cards in here, like Fighting Spirit or Idol Reborn. You can't do much else, so sometimes if they're playing Ghost Ogre, then you just gotta use it for second game 2 and put it in there as a cross-out target, so you can prevent your monsters from being destroyed, because you need that body on the board for link climbing. Now that's the deck. So now I'm going to go over the combos that you can do with this deck and what it actually does in the face of a lot of things.